The producer pays the carbon tax. The transport company pays the carbon tax to get it to the processing facility. The processing facility pays carbon tax on the energy they use to process the product. And then the transport company again pays carbon tax on top of that to get it to a distribution center. The distribution center, whether it's a cooling or heating facility, pays carbon tax on what it does. And then again, a transport company picks up the product and takes it to the retailer, who again pays the carbon tax. And then the retailer gets it and he pays the carbon tax on his energy costs. Every step along the way, for everything that consumers purchase, the carbon tax is compounded, Mr. Speaker. That's important to note because it's not a one-time GST where all along the process there are input tax credits. This is a compounding tax credit. And if Canadians are wondering why everything costs so much, it's because of this compounding tax. Yeah. It's not a single end-user tax like PST or GST or HST. It's a compounding tax right from the grassroots to the end user. And and people think, well, why is there such inflation? It's because everything costs more. It's because this Liberal NDP coalition has broken everything. And then they've whacked every single Canadian with this carbon tax. Let me tell you what the Canada Gazette said about the clean fuel regulations, how they would apply to everyday Canadians, and the carbon tax is exponentially worse than the clean fuel regulations. But let me tell you what the Canada Gazette says. It says that according to Statistics Canada, single mothers are more likely to live in lower income households and may be more vulnerable to energy poverty and adverse impacts from increases to transportation and home heating prices. Seniors living on fixed incomes may also face higher transportation and heating costs resulting from the proposed regulations. This may be the most acute for seniors living in the Atlantic provinces, where they account for a higher share of the total population compared to other Canadian provinces, and are also more likely to experience some of the highest energy expenditures in Canada proportional to income. It is possible that there could be other socio-economic groups that may have disproportionately lower income, may be at an increased vulnerability to energy poverty, or may be adversely affected by the proposed regulations. However, these groups may not fully be captured in this analysis due to the lack of available data and scarcity of research or underrepresentation available in other studies. That's what the Canada Gazette printed in response to the clean fuel regulations, and the carbon tax exasperates that. We know that lower income households, seniors, single moms trying to get by are exponentially impacted by the carbon tax. We know that it hits them the hardest. They are disproportionately affected to a carbon tax increase than middle and upper class Canadian or higher income Canadians. We know that. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. The carbon tax disproportionately affects lower income families. And, it's interesting because on my ride here from the airport yesterday to city centre here in Ottawa, my taxi driver said that in the last 2 weeks he's taken 2 families back to the airport that are moving away from Canada, that came here as immigrants in the last 10 years, but have decided to go back to their respective countries where they came from, one being Africa and one the Middle East, because they couldn't afford to live here. Mr. Speaker, Canada used to be the country of promise. This used to be a place where people had hope, where people could afford to live, and that's no longer the case. And now this Liberal NDP coalition wants to whack Canadians, whack low-income people the hardest with another 23% increase to this carbon tax. Colleagues, today we have an opportunity to send the House of Commons a clear message that as a Natural Resource Committee, we're asking the government to stop the proposed increase to the carbon tax, to spike the hike, and to axe the tax. And I'm asking colleagues that you support my colleague Ms. Stubbs in her motion. We have a very unique opportunity. Let's exercise it.
Thank you, Mr. Falk. We'll now go to Mr. Aldag.
Great, thank you. Well, Mr. Falk said himself that he used the term reprehensible, and so let's talk reprehensible. I want to indicate once again that the Conservatives' only climate plan is to let the planet burn. BC is already breaking temperature records in March. Communities are already working to impose restrictions on water and the use of water because of low snowpacks. Climate change is real, it's upon us, and the Conservatives have absolutely no plan. That's as being identified and called out by the BC's Premier, that had indicated that Poilievre's campaign office and baloney factory request about cancelling the tax and spiking the hike. I can't even keep up with the bumper sticker slogans that they're coming up with for these false solutions to absolutely existential problems facing our planet. And so with that as my comments, I now move to adjourn debate.
Thank you, Mr. Aldag. We have a motion to adjourn debate. Can you please call the roll?
Mr. Aldag.
Mr. Aldag.
Yes, I vote to adjourn, to adjourn debate.
Ms. Dillon.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Madame Lapointe.
Oui.
Mr. Sorbara.
Yes.
Mr. Falk.
Absolutely not. Let's have a debate.
Mr. Patzer.
Nope.
Mr. Small.
No.
Ms. Stubbs.
No.
Mr. Simard.
Oui.
Mr. Angus.
Yes.
7 yeas, 4 nays.
Debate is adjourned. We'll now proceed back to where we were, CPC 10, and I believe, Ms. Stubbs, you were moving CPC 10?
Sure, if we'd like to do that. I just thought that it was 5:30, Chair, but of course, that is your prerogative and your call, as always. So I will move this amendment that Bill C-49 and Clause 125 be amended by adding, after line 25 on page 89, the following, quote, any evaluation of offshore renewable energy projects should be done similarly to evaluations of offshore petroleum projects.
Thank you, Ms. Stubbs. Ms. Jones, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not supporting this particular amendment because the members know that the bill has already leveraged the expertise of offshore regulators. They've had sound regulatory practices to establish known and reliable processes. And, you know, the regulator has the same mandate to evaluate all aspects of safety and environmental protection of proposed projects for offshore renewable energy, as it does for petroleum projects, even recognizing that the technologies used will be different. So I think it's similar to CPC 5, which was previously defeated, and to ensure consistency between Newfoundland and Labrador versions of the bill, I oppose the motion, and I suggest that we vote against it.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Do we have any other speakers? No. So we'll now vote on CPC 10. Shall CPC 10 carry?
No.
No. Mr. Aldag.
No.
Ms. Dillon.
No.
Ms. Jones.
No.
Madame Lapointe.
No.
Mr. Sorbara.
Not today.
Mr. Falk.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yes.
Mr. Patzer.
Yes.
Were you listening?
Mr. Small.
Were you listening?
Yes. Ms. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mr. Simard.
No.
Mr. Angus.
No.
4 yeas, 7 nays.
Okay. CPC 10 is defeated. Shall Clause 125 carry? Yes. Please call the roll.
Mr. Aldag.
Yes.
Mr. Bruson.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Madame Lapointe.
Oui.
No.
No.
Mr. Swall.
Original. Yeah or no? It's too late.
Whatever you want to do.
No.
It's up to you.
Ms. Stubbs.
No.
Monsieur Simard.
No. Pardon.
Mr. Angus.
Yes.
6 yeas, 5 nays.
Clause 125 is carried. There are no amendments submitted to clauses 126 to 130.
Sorry, it is after
Yes.
5:30, and I have another meeting to go to.
So it's my understanding.
And Ms. Dillon refused to sit in for me. She left.
Oh, we can maybe bring her back. If there's a motion if there's a motion to, we do have resources till 6:30. If there's a motion to adjourn for today, we can entertain that, but I do need a motion from the floor. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Patzer.
Mr. Chair, the notice that was given to this committee was 3:30 to 5:30. It was not 4:30 to 6:30. The official notice on the record is 3:30 to 5:30. You do not have unanimous consent from multiple parties in this committee to continue this meeting.
That's right.
So
That was what we
if you
discussed
want to
at the beginning.
extend 5:30, you need UC to do it. You don't have it, and it's done.
So,
Just as a point
I
of
wanna-
order, you don't need UC to extend.
yes, we don't need UC to extend, Mr. Patzer, but it was advised, if you'll listen to what I have to say, Mr. Pastor, it was advised, your clerks were aware, all the clerks were aware what was happening today in the House, that meetings would start late and we would have resources to continue. So I would ask members, if you would like to end at this time, if there's a motion from the floor and somebody would like to bring forward a motion to end our meeting at this point, we can entertain that. And I'm happy to have committee members determine whether you want to continue or whether you want to end. So I'm giving that to you to make that decision at this point. And that's a vote we will have if that's what happens. Now, Mr. Angus, I'm going to go to you.
Thank you, Chair. It happens once every third St. Patrick's Day, the day after, the Conservatives support me. So this is that day. So I'm going to take advantage of it, but I do want to thank you for your excellent chairing, but I make a motion to end the meeting.
We have to adjourn the meeting for today from Mr. Angus. Could you please call the roll, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Aldag.
I'm going to abstain.
I'm going to say yes.
Mr. Bruson.
Abstain.
Ms. Jones.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yes.
Madame Lapointe.
No.
Abstain.
Mr. Sabara.
Support my friend, Mr. Angus.
Mr. Falk.
For the sake of collegiality, yes.
Mr. Patzer.
Yes.
Mr. Small.
Yes.
Ms. Stubbs.
Yes.
Monsieur Simard.
Oui.
Mr. Angus.
Yes.
8 yeas, no nays.
Motion to adjourn is carried. Thank you, colleagues, for the great